imperfect but precious way that we organise ourselves, that is being created to give equal voice to the weak and to the strong, that is designed to help drive consensus, it is fragile. When facts are turned into fiction and fiction turned into fact, you stop debating ideas and you start debating conspiracy. It ignores the reality of what we are now confronted by every single day. Now, where I come from, we have a parliamentary representative democracy. Without giving you a litany of fun facts on New Zealand that you're unlikely to need again, here is the very brief version. We have a mixed member proportional system, which essentially means every vote counts, and it's ensured that our parliament better reflects our communities. Almost 50% of our parliament are women. Almost 20% are Māori, the Indigenous people of New Zealand. And our Deputy Prime Minister is a proud gay man and sits among several other rainbow parliamentarians. In the past 10 years, we have passed laws that include everything from the introduction of gay marriage and the banning of conversion therapy, right through to embedding a 1.5-degree climate change target into law, banning military-style semi-automatics and assault rifles, and the decriminalisation of abortion. But that fear is overshadowed by a greater fear of what will happen to our democracies if we don't act to firm up our foundations. If we don't find once again our ability to argue our corners, yes, with the passion and fire that conviction brings, but without the vitriol, hate and violence. But we also knew that if we wanted genuine solutions to the issue of violent extremism online, it would take government, civil society, and the tech companies to come together and change the landscape. And the result was the Christchurch call to action. And while much has changed as a result, important things haven't. The time has come for social media companies and other online providers to recognise their power and to act on it. That means upholding their own basic terms of service. That means recognising the role they play in constantly curating and shaping the online environments that we're in. That algorithmic processes make choices and decisions for us, what we see and where we are directed. And at best, that means that the user experience is personalised. But at worst, it means the user experience can be radicalised. It means that there is a pressing and urgent need for responsible algorithm development and deployment. Let's start with transparency and how algorithmic processes work and the outcomes they deliver. But let's finish with a shared approach to responsible algorithms, because the time has come. There's a term that gets thrown around a lot: keyboard warrior. It's used to refer to someone who makes aggressive or abusive posts online, often anonymously. Now, I like the name. In my mind, when I read something especially horrific on my feed, I imagine it's written by a lone person unacquainted with personal hygiene practices, dressed in a poorly fitted superhero costume, one that is baggy in all the wrong places. Now, keyboard warrior or not, though, it's still something that has been written by a human, and it's something that's been read by one too. What we consider to be the mainstream media outlets have proliferated, but ownership structures have not. Mainstream media have layers of accountabilities and journalistic expectation that others who also present information to us don't. There is competition in advertising revenue with subscription services and paywalls, all to aid in the survival of the fittest, with fittest now defined by how easy it is to monetize your content. And in amongst all of that lies the fact we're not talking about how we access information to inform debate, but whether you can call it information at all. Now, there are those far more learned than I who will argue where the source of the scourge of disinformation lies. Within your own campus, you have those who will argue that the current problems of disinformation are not the result of algorithms or trolls, but of, quote, asymmetric media structures, decades in the making. For disinformation corrodes the foundation of our liberal democracy, our ability to assess facts on their merits and to adjust course accordingly. In a disinformation age, we need to learn how to analyse and critique information. Now, that doesn't mean teaching mistrust, but rather, as my old history teacher, Mr. Fountain, extolled, to, quote, understand the limitations of a single piece of information and that there is always a range of perspectives on events and decisions. You are and will always be surrounded by bias. You will continue to be exposed to disinformation. And over time, the noise you are surrounded by will probably only get worse. And perhaps that is why, when your own constitution was adopted, Benjamin Franklin was asked what had been created, and he replied, quote, a republic if you can keep it. If you can keep it. Yes, diversity of voice in mainstream media matters. The responsibility of social media matters. Teaching our kids to deal with disinformation and the role we play as leaders, it all matters, but so do you. How you choose to engage with information, deal with conflict, how you confront debate, how you choose to address being baited or hated, it all matters. And the overwhelming challenges that lay in front of us and our constant efforts to reach into the systems, the structures, the power, don't overlook the simple act that are right in front of you. The impact that we each have as individuals. To make a choice to treat difference with empathy and with kindness, through genuine debate and dialogue, through rebuilding trust and information and one another, through empathy, let us reclaim the space in between. After all, there are some things in this life that make the world feel small and connected. Let kindness be one of them.